Welcome to another episode of the Support for Employment podcast. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the S4E podcast. We are doing another interview today, this time with Mario Butera. Welcome to the show, Mario.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
I'll give you an intro shortly. We also have Tyren, and we're welcoming Kai back to the show. It's been a while since you've been on, Kai.
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good.
Awesome. All right, so this is your first interview, right? You bit nervous?
Yeah, but I'm okay.
Awesome, man. That's a great attitude to have. All right, let's roll with that. You can get your nerves in order, and I will introduce
Mario?
our guest.
Yes.
What do you do? What do you do?
I'm a real estate agent
Yeah?
for a very long time. Been in the game for about 52 years.
That's an incredible number.
Started when I was 17, and you could work that out. I'll be 69 soon. Yes, it's been good fun. I've enjoyed it.
Looking incredible for 69, by the
Well,
way.
I don't
I've got
know.
to say.
Don't
That
know.
is true.
Man, my God.
Might be all those Botox done. I don't use any of that stuff, and I don't recommend it.
What's
believe
your
me.
skincare routine then?
Oh, I think it's just genes.
Nice.
Dad was 93 when he passed away,
Wow.
and he was still in good form. Mum was 90, and I think it's genes, guys. You know. But yeah, look, good life, good balance, eat, drink, sleep well.
Do you keep yourself active? I've heard
I
that.
probably should walk more. I get a bit lazy, especially in winter. You get home and dinner's on the table, and you think, "I'll go for a walk." No, summer I do a little bit more. Yeah,
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. The longer hours, the longer sunlight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So the grandkids keep me busy. I've got to chase after them. Yeah, it's good fun.
You got how many grandkids?
I've got three, and two through a second marriage. Not my marriage, my daughter's marriage. But yes, I've got three blood siblings, and they're beautiful. 5, 3, and 2, and they're gorgeous.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Well,
and then we've got Riley and Lara. I think that's 14 and 12. So, yeah, so they keep you busy.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Keep you active. You got to stay healthy.
Keep you up with the times, right?
Exactly
as well.
right. Exactly right.
We'll have some more questions on that later.
you.
In fact, you
which
just
is
set
great.
up a perfect question for me later.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. All right, so guys, with us today is Mario Butera, Director and Auctioneer at Woodards Northcote, who also knows our very own Lou through previous interactions in the commercial real estate sector. Mario began his real estate career in 1974 at just 17 years of age, initially working as a salesperson. He later progressed into a sales manager position, a move that introduced him to the competitive Clifton Hill real estate market. Having grown up in Thornbury, Mario brings a strong personal connection to Melbourne's northern suburbs and an extraordinary depth of knowledge about the local property market. Over a career spanning more than 5 decades, he has gained extensive experience selling both residential and commercial property. Mario is also a specialist in project marketing, an accredited auctioneer, a certified estate agent, and an associate of the Real Estate Institute of Australia. His Woodards profile highlights the enthusiasm, extensive industry knowledge, and innovative thinking he brings to his work. Real estate involves far more than just simply buying and selling property. It requires communication, negotiation, confidence, adaptability, and the ability to guide people through some of the most significant decisions they may ever make. With Mario's extensive career and experience across different areas of the industry, I'm sure he has many valuable stories and lessons to share. So today, we look forward to learning more about Mario's journey, the changes he has witnessed throughout more than 50 years in the real estate industry, and what it takes to build such a long and successful career in a highly competitive industry. Again, Mario, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and glad to be here.
Awesome. So, Kai or Tyren, feel free to fire off question number 1, please.
And hopefully I can answer them correctly for you.
Of course. I just thought of this one on the top of my head. I hope I'm not stealing anyone's questions.
Go for it.
But what got you into the sector? What got you interested at 17 to go, oh, I want to start working with houses. I want to sell them.
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. I used to live in North Fitzroy, and my sister used to work for Chris Doyle's Clifton Hill. And I needed a bit of pocket money because I was born in Italy. We came here in 1964, and we didn't have a lot of income or a lot of wealth, let's say. So I worked on a Saturday and a Sunday at Chris Doyle's, answering phone calls for a real estate office. And I did my homework, and I got some money for the pleasure of working there. But I'd see these salespeople coming in, in their Mercedes-Benz, dressed up like 007, and I thought, wow. How good is this? They're in, they're out, they're not in all the time. They're mostly out going to properties, and they're taking clients out. And then conversation in the office, you hear that they earned a sack of money. And I thought, geez, I want to be a real estate agent. And that's how it happened. At 17, I started full-time working in real estate, and I've never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah, so I fell in a good way, let's say.
For sure. I would imagine very quickly the overwhelm of that industry, because I know a couple of estate agents myself, and they talk a lot about like the stress, the volatility of the industry, and obviously when times get tough, it gets really tough for obviously those in that industry. So when did you realize, oh crap, this is actually quite difficult? Like, were there any moments that you kind of doubled back on your decision?
It was really challenging because these matured, professional, established estate agents would find listings in the area very easily because they were well known. I'm starting off and I don't have a database of clients, so you're doing the hard work. And this is where a lot of estate agents, they start young, they fall through the cracks because it is a very, very hard job. Why should I trust a young kid to sell my house? And I've worked all my life paying this house off. So you've got to really sell yourself. You've got to show that there's results there. So the first 3-4 years were difficult, obviously, because you weren't known in the industry. You haven't got any proven results. And in those days, were probably a little bit easier because you didn't have the Google rankings and all that. So you could hide a little bit. Like you could actually make yourself look more established than you really were. Whereas now, they look you up on your profile and, geez, he's only sold 5 properties this year.
Yeah.
Or he sold 52 properties and they're all... So you're a little bit more out there. So it's good to put yourself out there, but then if you haven't got the results today, people don't want to work with you. In my days, it was a little bit more... You buy the newspaper, you don't have that information at your fingertips. You know, you had to research it in different ways. You'd ring people. So it was a tough... And I find that the first 12 months, 2 years is where most salespeople fall through the crack because it's long hours, tedious. It's not a big earn at the start, and the result isn't there. So probably 2 in every 10 might really stick it out.
Yeah.
Because you've just got to keep going. It's like a tennis player. You know, he gets knocked out all the time. You could sort of keep going, or you could really be positive and just keep practicing and learn the new ways. And in real estate, you had to find a way to do business. And even as a young bloke, I'd be following established estate agents and see where they go. And I'd see that they park in a street in North Fitzroy or Clifton Hill. It was very naughty of me, but I had to survive. So I'd go and door knock that street because I'm thinking to myself, he must be somewhere where someone's selling some real estate.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to the point where you had to really find ways to succeed. And then in our days, the age was where you advertised properties. People try to sell the properties themselves to avoid commission payable to an estate agent. So I'd follow those up. So I think as a young bloke, I loved the industry so much that I wasn't going to fail. And I did everything I could to make sure that I got on the right, correct stage, let's say, and I started getting called in a bit more. People got to know you a little bit more. But it is a 7-day-a-week job. It's not something you can go home and forget about it. The phone keeps ringing. It doesn't matter whether it's Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
But it is a tough industry. But once you get over that hurdle and you become positive and people start to trust you in the area, and you don't move area too much. That's the trick, because then if I move to Glen Waverley, I'm new kid on the block. So because I stayed in the inner north for 52 years, I'm probably one of the oldest there at the moment, but it's not that you can go anywhere in the area that someone might say, hey, how you going? You sold me my house in 1984.
Wow.
You know, so they're the sort of stuff that now I'm enjoying, the fruit of my labour.
That's
let's
right.
say. Yeah.
You laid down the roots for so long, you
Yes,
get to actually
yes.
enjoy
but
it now.
It's such an exciting business, and it's not a house business. It's a people business. It's just that people have houses.
That's a good point.
So as long as you're a people person, houses for sale come on. You're not for the short term. As long as you're in the long term, you'll lay your roots to a point where you can't fail. People want to deal with you. People wouldn't trust you again because you did a good job in 1984, 85 or 95. And, someone rings me and says, you sold my mother's house in 1995. We're so happy with the way you did it. Could you come and sell my grandmother's house? I mean, that's a real buzz.
Yeah.
It's a real pat in the back, let's say. So I enjoy it. Even today, people say, when are you going to retire? I'll never retire. I might cut my hours down to spend time with the grandkids, but why would I want to retire? I just enjoy it so much. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've built a love for your? It's not even a job at this point. It's like a lifestyle, right? But
The hobby, even.
Yeah, that's right. Like it transcends that.
People say, but what time do you get? You've got all the time in the world. I'm here now. I can stage my appointments wherever I want. If I've got a footy match to see my grandkids on a Saturday morning, I'll just stage my auctions for the Saturday afternoon. I think real estate's like a beast. You've got to control the beast. You can't let the beast control you because then you wear out. You've got to be able to say, no, I can't be there at 5 o'clock Tuesday, but how can I see you Wednesday night? And it's like going to a surgeon, a specialist. If he can't see you for 3 weeks, you're going to wait. So what's the difference if you really want me to sell your house, you'll wait for me to come tomorrow night rather than tonight because I'm just busy tonight.
Yeah.
I've got family occasion that I've got to go to. And that's sometimes more important. You've got to have that balance. You've got to have a really good family life. You have a really good business life. I think if one is missing, then it's not going to work.
There's a quote that I really like, which is a lot of things are important, but not everything is urgent.
Exactly right.
So yes, selling someone's house is very important. It does not have to happen right now because, like you said, my grandkids' soccer game's on or whatever it may be.
You might have a funeral. Your best friend's father passed away. You got a funeral that afternoon. You just can't be there. But I'm honest. I say, look, I'm really sorry. I can't be there. I've got to be at a funeral. People like that because they see you as being real,
A human.
Yeah. So, and they're real. And what would they do if they had a funeral of their best friend's father that afternoon? So I think if you're honest and you tell them how it is, and they do want your service, they'll wait. It's not that you're saying I'm coming in a month's time. We're saying maybe 24 hours.
Yeah.
So you can control your business in a way where you've still got a good life.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a bit of a disadvantage for those who are just starting out, like you said, like those first 2 years? Do they have that luxury? Do they have that ability to kind of say no at that early level where they're trying to sort of make their path?
I think like a young person starting real estate and is really passionate and he's living at home and he hasn't got the expense of rent and the parents are probably buying his food and paying for his dry cleaning, he could probably have a couple of slow 2 or 3 years to build himself up. Yet a married person that's working for a government job and says, look, I'm married with 2 kids and I've got a mortgage and I want to go start a career into real estate, I think that's really difficult because it might be 2 or 3 hard years of low earnings, but his wife's saying, hey, where's the money?
Yeah.
The rates are in, bills are in, the school fees are in. So I think timing's really important. Yet a gentleman at 55 that always loved real estate, wanted to get out of accountancy and said, look, he's empty nester, he's got no debt. There's no reason why he can't start his career at 55. I'm 68 and I'm still very active and enjoy it. So you could still have mothers that have kids, kids are at school. A lot of mothers in their 40s and 50s are starting a career. And there's a big opening for ladies in sales because there's just not enough of them. It just softens up the whole office. Like we've got 2 sales ladies at our office, Stephanie and Monica, and they make a huge difference, especially if you've got a 90-year-old lady wanting to sell a real estate, her home, and you bring Monica with you, it just softens the whole thing. And it's nice for Monica to converse. So I think there's a big area. So I think timing, when I started at 17, I was living at home. If I didn't earn too much money, it's all right. I went home, Dad fed me, Mum, warm bed. You didn't have any bills. And by the time I was 27, I had made enough money to buy my own business at 27. But that was 10 years of hard labour, let's say, and a lot of learning. But by then I was ready to run my own business, and it was the best move I ever made. I've never looked back, because then you've got real control over your life, because then you can delegate to your staff. You can give them work that maybe it's not as interesting because they're learning anyway and they need to do it, but I'm doing probably the better work.
Yes.
I'm not doing the maintenance side to a rental property. I'm not doing changing that hot water service or getting a quote for it. I'm actually going to do the beautiful stuff and meeting people at their homes. They give me a tour of their beautiful home. We sit down at a coffee table, kitchen table, and we go over, what's the next move to me. And then the idea of putting it to market and selling it for top dollar on the day. The champagne comes out, everyone's happy, everyone's, it's a great feeling. So that's what keeps me going, is satisfaction to the buyer and the vendor.
Starting to sell it to me, I'll be honest, mate. You got any openings? Or?
Well, look, we're always after young, good-looking people, so good-looking boys like yourself. And I think working for a good office that gives you a good apprenticeship, let's say, and as long as you're ready to not succeed overnight.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think young people today want to be where I am today without
any of the, decades.
Why can't I
earn,
why can't I write $1 million a year in commission? Why am I only writing 50 a year? Because I've been in it 52 years. It's not.
And even you saying before, 27, bought my own business, a lot of people will say, oh, that's young. Well, that's already then and there. That's a decade of experience sticking to it.
Well, you've already had it, yeah.
You've had 17 to 27.
Years.
So you've already a decade in, and that's very well deserved.
You're seasoned.
That's right. And it's the same as your electricians, apprentices, and all that sort of stuff. That they start at 15, 16, and by the time they're 22, they're running their own business or whatever. Oh, that's young. It's also 6 years in the business. So. Yeah, fantastic.
But it is an exciting life. And if you do want to come into real estate, we're always open for new recruits.
There you go. Drop some resumes in, boys. Done. Well, thank you for a very incredible answer to that question. Kai, do you have any questions, or would you like to read a question off your sheet?
Can I ask you a question? What skills do you need to work in real
estate?
Estate.
Perfect. Great question, Kai.
What skills? Good communication, because that's all it is really. It's not that you need a hammer and a chisel. You just need good communication skills where you've got to listen well. You've got to let those vendors or those buyers talk to you. Listen well. I think if you listen well and not talk over them, that's really important. But the skill of communication, the skill of keeping them comfortable, holding their hand, it is a very, very scary and difficult time to buy your first house. Mortgage, loans, did I buy the right house in the right spot? And selling a house after 40 years of living there with a family is very emotional. So communication, allowing people the opportunity to take their time to make a decision, not rush them. I think that's where it is. So the first thing is communication, and obviously knowledge of your local area, values, what $500,000 will buy you in Northcote and what $500,000 buys you in Reservoir, a lot different because different areas. So all of that communication is important. Knowing what's better to sell, private sale or an auction. So communication, knowledge, and then I think if you can somehow build that trust with that person, you're in. You know why you're going to fail. But that's a good question. It's a very good question.
It is a very good question, Kai. When it comes to trust, probably, all of them are very important. So knowledge, communication, trust. When dealing with someone who is maybe a little distrustful or maybe doesn't really they're too driven by emotion, let's say, for their 40-year home that they've lived in for so long, how do you go about building that trust when it's not there or it's not being given to you straight away?
No, well, sometimes I've got the privilege of dealing with a lot of established people that I know, and I've done business with them before. So it's a lot easier for me not to have to work so hard to earn the trust, because you've already done business for them. But assuming, Monica, couple of years in the business, she hasn't got the database or the clientele, she's probably going to have to work a little bit harder on the trust. And I think it gets to, showing results that you've done in the area, getting testimonials. That's very important. Basically saying to someone, look, we sold the house around the corner for Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, and these are her details, and she'd be more than happy to talk to you and find out how I dealt with the property. That, there was no lessening of effort when things were tough. So testimonials, but I think, people do like a successful person. So if you've got a good scoreboard, even if it's not many, you've got some terrific sales results, I think you'll win it. But trust does take time.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it on the first meeting. I think first meeting is you walk through the property, you give them some information, you leave them some testimonials, you leave them some methods of sale, and then you basically go away and say, look, let me do my research. Can we plan another meeting 2 days from now? So then you go back with further information, probably more comparable sales, what's selling in the area. Why did that get $1 million and yours is only worth 900? Because that had a pool and yours doesn't have a pool. So you try and show them where, because they want 1.1, it's only worth 900. So you've got to try and say to them, let's try and get 1.1, but data is telling us this. So I think that's how you win your trust. I think if you just say, yeah, look, sign here, I'm going to get you 1.1, it's a very easy thing to do, and that owner will love signing with you because you come from a reputable office and he trusts you or she trusts you, and she's going to sign up, but a month later you've got offers of $900,000. That trust is gone for that estate agent. And as I say to all my staff, when you lose a listing, it's not that you've done anything wrong. Ring that owner back and say, congratulations, you've chosen a really good agent, but if it doesn't work, our doors are always open for you. You know that person that overvalued it just to buy the listing and not earn the listing, they're likely not going to sell it. The vendors will probably ring Monica and say, listen, you're honest from day one. So sometimes being second is not a bad thing. So I think you've got to look at the situation. But trust does take time. You're certainly not going to earn the trust if you lie, or if you overvalue it just to make your life easy, walk out with a document signed, and you're hoping that you can beat those people down by $200,000. It's not going to happen that easy. So trust takes time. But once people trust you, even if you make a small mistake, they'll still keep going with you because, look, sorry, I really mucked up on that one. I should have rung them last night. I missed their phone call, but I'll ring them tomorrow. If you just be honest and the trust was already there, you'll continue on and you'll end up doing the deal and they're going to be happy and they'll accept $925,000 because that the market dictates. The market's stronger than any human being. The vendor can't control the market, not can the buyer. Market is its own market. And eventually they either meet market and sell it, or the buyer meets market and buys it, or they don't buy or they don't sell.
Stalemate.
They've got to look again tomorrow or have another shot tomorrow. So it depends on motivation as well of the vendor. They're not motivated. They might just be testing the waters.
Do you get a lot of that? Do you get a lot of people kind of
not as much these
probing?
days because testing the waters is hard because it's so expensive in the marketing side of it. I mean, realestate.com alone is $3,500. If you're testing the waters, you're going to find $3,500 just for that. Then you got domain, then you got boards and brochures, and $7,000-8,000 later, you haven't got an opportunity to test.
That's right.
He might say, listen, if you get a buyer off market, well, you know he's not motivated. You might keep in touch with him on a monthly, how you going? You might show the odd buyer through if you actually do have a buyer, but he's not motivated enough and he's not my key client. Yeah. Yet the guy down the road that says, I want to upsize, my kid wants to start school in Ivanhoe next year, I need to sell and buy, that's motivation. Then I'm going to hold their hand, sell their house for an extremely high price, and then assist them in buying their house in Ivanhoe. And I won't charge for my time to help them buy an Ivanhoe. People say, why aren't you charging? Because they're probably going to give it back to me for sale when the time comes. So sometimes you've got to do that little bit extra without actually getting paid. And that's how you lay your foundations. They're not going to forget you inspecting the property with them in Ivanhoe. You beat it for them on the day of the auction. You know, they take you out for dinner to thank you. They offer you money and you say no. 10 years down the track when they want to sell their Ivanhoe home, guess what? Who they're going to ring? But if you charge every time, you know.
Do you have a dog?
Sorry?
Do you have a dog?
I used to have a dog, Doberman, Tess. It passed away and we didn't replace it. Our lives got a little bit busy with grandkids and all that, so we've decided not to have a dog at the moment. But that doesn't mean later in life that I won't have a dog. But we had Tess for about 11 years. She was gorgeous.
What colour was she?
She was black. Yeah, black. Gorgeous. And then she had, I think, 5 or 6 pups, and they were sold for an extremely high price.
Yeah.
Those days even. But yeah, no, we haven't replaced it. We're sort of busy with grandkids and we're home very little these days because when you're an empty nester, you tend to go out to dinner more often, you tend to go and visit people more often, you tend to go away on holidays more often, and the choice, thinking of where do I put the dog, you know, and so no, I haven't replaced it, but in time, if I ever semi-retire, I probably would get a dog, maybe not a big dog,
Yeah, Dobermans
maybe
are
a
a lot of
smaller
work, though.
dog, but we did enjoy Tess. She was really a good dog to protect your home as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with a Doberman.
No, not many would come into our backyard.
Beautiful. Well, Tyren, do you mind going on another question, please?
Great opportunity. So, you have kids, but you know they're adults now, so you can say this for either your current kids or your grandkids. But what is a rule that you always tell your kids or grandkids that you don't follow yourself?
Oh, look, I probably spoil the kids too often. You know, my kids say, why are you doing this, Dad? You never used to do it with me. But I think when you're a dad, you're busy, you're working hard. So I think the kids have got to be safe. You know, they've got to be in a safe environment. But I love spoiling the kids. And the problem is Sienna's now getting to 5 and she'll tell her dad, yes, he did give me 3 candies instead of 1, Dad. You know, so I've got to be careful what I do these days. But so your question is, what do I really keep the kids safe, give them a good family environment? I think the kids have to see that family connection, and whether Julian and his sister, you know, meet up for dinner or whether they meet up with us, regular family, grandparents bring a lot of tradition to the family. And I think that strong bond is what I advise my kids to do. Family first. You know, the kids will have that contact with their cousins. They'll grow up together. But certainly these days, first thing that comes to mind is safe, comfortable environment, you know, good schools, not cheap these days. So this is where grandparents come in and, you know, help out the kids as much as we can. But what we're saying is, yeah, keep them happy, keep them good bond as a family. I think once you've got that, kids will really feeling quite wanted and comfortable and accepted, let's say. But whereas in other families where they're fighting and brothers don't talk to sisters and parents don't talk to kids, and well, the kids are not in a really good place, or husband and wife are divorcing, you know, and that happens. Sometimes it happens. So you make the best of it. But in our situation, we're fortunate that we haven't had any of that, and the kids have really got a really good environment. I think that will really set a really good base for them as they grow up.
I completely agree with that. I've seen both sides, and it really does make a difference how you grow up.
But my parents, grandparents, and my wife's parents, their great grandparents, they were such a important role, because even Julian, my son, he'd be happy to let me down, but he'd be scared to let his grandparents down. So there's that real respect, that command respect. So family's really important. And us Italians, we do place, not that Aussies don't, no, all nations do, but we really love dining together. We love communicating. We love spending time together. And that really gives the kids a really good start in life. And they go to school happy, so they're not stressed.
Do you you mentioned before that there was your daughter saying, "Oh, you never did this for us. Like, why are you doing it for the grandkids?" Are there any other sort of rules that you break as a grandparent that were very rigid as a parent, maybe?
Well, look, my dad in particular, I suppose he had to work 2 jobs. He came from Italy. My sister and I was 7, she was 10, on a ship. We rolled up here. So Dad didn't have time to spend time with me. The funny thing is, I was a little bit jealous of Dad, because Dad never took me to the park. Dad was a beautiful man. Like he paid for school fees. You were always warm. You had a good food on the table. You were safe. But when he was rolling in the lounge room with Julian, my son, I thought, geez, wish I had that.
Yeah.
So I'm probably overdoing it. Look, I just love my grandkids so much that I can't spend enough time with them. And when Sienna's holding onto my leg, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with Nono. I want to sleep at Nono's house. It's a buzz. You've really I'm in her life. And you miss them. I mean, they're in Athens at the moment for a couple of months visiting family, because my son married a Greek girl, Antonia, gorgeous girl. I miss those kids. And we FaceTimed them last night, and, and that's what we do. They're not here, but we'll FaceTime them every couple of nights. We want to be in their life. When she's 15, 16, I want to have that same relationship with her, hopefully. They might go a little bit sour on you at 15, 16.
You might get annoyed.
You lose them for a while. They know it all.
Come back later.
But I think you lose them, parents, a bit more. But I think with Nonny, it's a little bit different. I think you won't lose them as much. And I think, when your kids tomorrow, you got a daughter that they've got a kid that maybe is a little bit rebellious, this is where my job comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
I think, Sienna, what are you doing? Come and see Nono, and let's sit down. Why do you have to have a boyfriend at 15,
Yeah.
You don't need a boyfriend.
Don't need that.
You don't need it. I mean, if she does.
Don't date until you're 30.
Yeah. We'll bring him home and make sure he's a good-looking boy and
Yeah, that's right.
got good manners. But yeah, no, it's nice. I had 2 kids. I've now got 5, and 2 through my son-in-law's Tom. He's got 2 kids from his previous marriage. So really, I've got 5 grandkids. And plus 2 of my own kids. So I actually wake up in the morning thinking about 7 kids.
Yeah, that's right.
You haven't got 2 anymore.
I can only imagine how that feels as
It's
someone
a
who's
great
not
feeling.
even there.
It's a great, and when the kids aren't well, it hurts. Just like it hurt me when Julian and Carla weren't well. If Sienna or Max or Marley or Riley or Lara aren't well, or they're getting picked at school or they're being bullied, it hurts me. Like, you want to be there to help them out. So life, as you get older, doesn't necessarily get any easier. Yeah. You become a parent again. When your kid, let's say Julian and Antonia go away for a couple of days and we hold them, we have them for a couple of days. It's a hard couple of days. It's nice giving them back because, we're relaxed
Stop
again.
running around.
I haven't got that strength that a 39-year-old. You sort of run out of steam, but we give them back and your life is back to relaxing again. Whereas when you have dad and mum, it's 7 days a week, 24/7. You haven't got the time to spoil them as much as what I can. If I've got them for 2 days, they're going to be spoiled. We're going to go out to the parks. We're going to go to playgrounds. We're going to go to restaurants. We're going to give them everything they want. You can understand why they want to come back to Nonny's house.
Yeah, that's right.
Because at home,
2-day holiday.
Go and do your homework or go into your room because you've been naughty. There's all that sort of stuff. I mean, we're very. I mean, if Sienna is difficult with Maximus, her little brother, we'll pick her up and say, look, you don't talk to your brother like that. We're like a parent, second parent, but we're a softer parent. We're very accommodating. It's a good place to be. I mean, I would never replace being a grandfather.
I was going to say, it sounds like it might be the best parts of parenthood. And
Yes.
with the added bonus of being able to go, here you go,
You give them back.
here they go.
Give
Back
them
to school.
You give them back, yeah. So that's the beauty of it. But you know what? It gives a night away from the mum and dad spending a day together and a night together and the next morning, to them it's a lifetime. Yeah. It's really good. So we like to be there to give the kids a bit of a break, yeah.
I might ask one of my questions,
Sure.
Which is, you've witnessed suburbs around you change socially, culturally and financially over the years. What has that transformation added to that community and what do you think has been lost?
Well, Northcote in particular, a lot of the oldies have moved on or they've gone into nursing homes, they've downsized, but a lot of young families are coming in. Schools have never been busier, Northcote. Like when there was mainly older families, there wasn't many kids, so there's a lot more kids. Schools are very important part of the community, and so schools are really popular now. And buying a house near, a quality school really gives the value a lift as well. But I'm finding a lot of young people are coming in. I'm finding a lot of money's been spent on homes. So houses have been upgraded. Streets are looking a lot better because you haven't got these rundown homes. But there's still a lot of older people still home because they're healthy enough. I mean, Mum was there for 58 years at her home until she passed away this year. And, she was still living at home on her own with Dad. And, so there's a lot of older people, but it's becoming a more of a younger area where a lot of young families are coming in, upsizing from an apartment to a house, upsizing from a smaller house to a larger home. But, it's good. And because of the infrastructure, the trams, the trains, the shops, 7 cases CBD, position's really great. And then the quality of, you've got period homes and modern homes, so that goes really well together. So there's a lot of, Northcote's becoming quite a wealthy suburb. Probably less can afford it now. So now Preston and Reservoir is becoming the next area that's becoming really hot because they get more value for money. I mean, in Northcote, you might buy a single fronted for $1.8 million, but in Reservoir, you'll get a full house for $1.2, $1.3 million. So they've got to move out.
Yeah, that's right.
So the areas that were maybe not as attractive to people, they've become very attractive. So a lot of cafes are opening up in Reservoir, breweries are opening up in Reservoir, restaurants are opening. So it's becoming, Reservoir's like another Northcote,
Yeah,
30 years
social
ago.
hub, sort of.
Yeah, social hub. So I think schools are a lot busier. I think shopping strips are a lot busier. I mean, you drive down High Street, Northcote, Thornbury on a Friday or Saturday night, you can't get a spot. So it's becoming really family orientated, quality restaurants, and people out of outer areas are coming in for a meal. So obviously those restaurants are doing well. So the area is really becoming an exclusive area, but it's out of reach for a lot of people.
For sure. Yeah, mentioned like restaurants and stuff like that. Very off topic, but do you have a favourite restaurant near yours that you are a frequent?
Well, Umberto's in High Street, Thornbury is just an exquisite Italian little restaurant. It's almost like going back to Italy, whether it's the pasta ragu or whether it's, but they make beautiful coffees and you'll always get a seat. Food's quality, coffee's quality, and that's the thing for Italians. You can have a best meal, but if the coffee's not good, your meal's not good. So you've got to have a good coffee. But no, there's a lot of good restaurants. And there's also Asian restaurants. There's Indian restaurants. There's an array of, it doesn't have to be Italian or Greek. There's a beautiful Greek restaurant over the road, so from our office, absolute chock-a-block on a Friday night, and beauty about it is we've got car park at the back of our office, but when you can't get a spot in High Street, we just go in our car park at the back. So that's the beauty about it. But yeah, finding a spot on a Saturday night or a Friday night is very difficult. This is really great for an area because bringing in that income, that it's the buzz.
That's right. Yeah. On top of this will be my last question on this before I palm off to you, Tyren. So on top of obviously the financial and like schools and all that sort of stuff, these benefits that these younger families are bringing into Northcote, are there any other positives that you can sort of see coming from that boom in younger families entering Northcote?
Well, look, I think there's a lot of social activities happening in Northcote, whether it's school events. So I think it's becoming, like you said, a really good hub. So whereas before it was a lot quieter, let's say. So kids bring enthusiasm, young people bring enthusiasm, but I think the social activity in Northcote's really strong. There's a lot of events, kindergarten, school events. We sponsor quite a number of them as well, and that's important. But I'm finding that that's where I think the area is really lifting. And not just Northcote, I think Reservoir wasn't an area of an attraction once, but now it's becoming a very social, family-driven. It feels safer. You haven't got those...
That'd be important
Yeah,
as well, right?
It feels safer because you do quality people mowing their lawns on a Saturday morning, kids coming in and out, playing in the front garden. I think that sense of family, I think that's what is really given Northcote, Thornbury, Preston, Reservoir the boost, is that social side of it. And people are out and about socialising. And there's a lot of school events. And then there's footy played on a Saturday afternoon. So you'd meet up, So parents go there to watch the game, but it's not just watching the game, but meeting up with their friends that live in the area, creating relationships. And I mean, our best friends that we go away on holidays, we met these people at our kids' kinder. And we see them more than they're our family at the moment. We go away with them. So it's a relationship that you build up through schools. And that's where your best connections will be because you have very much in common. Your kids go to kinder together, they go to school together, they go to uni together. All of a sudden that relationship and it kicks off. So our best friends are our parents that we met at kinder. But it clicks. Like you can't make friendship happen. It's got to work or it doesn't. And having that opportunity to meet many, many people at school, you'll obviously find the one that suits you best, that meets, that you like enjoying the same dinner, going away on the same holidays. And that's another, so all of a sudden they're my family. I see them more than my cousins. So it's interesting. Like you can pick your friends, you can't pick your family. Not that I hate my cousins, but I really enjoy the company of my friends because we have the same enthusiasm, or you play golf together, or you go to the same footy. You barrack for Carlton. I mean, the Blues are really doing well at the moment. We won 5 in a row. We'll beat Richmond this weekend. It'll be 6 in a row. So go the Blues.
We should have had Felix on the show today. He would be absolutely, he'd be cursing you out.
95 was our last premiership, which is, 31 years ago. So we've got a lot to catch up. So, so I think if you've got all those connections together and you like travelling together and you like eating at the same restaurant together, this is where the social side of Northcote, Thornbury, Preston, Reservoir, this is where you're going to build your friendship and your long-term relationships. And that's more important than the value of your home.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy that. You can buy a house, but you can't buy relationships.
It's a good quote. We'll tag that one in the description of the show. Perfect. Tyren, would you mind asking another question?
This is a bit of a odd question because it's a bit dependent on the person, but let's say a young person with little to no experience wants to start a business, right? Do you think it's worth purchasing a shop or just working from home?
Well, some businesses you can't work from home. So if you open up a cafe, you can't work from home. But if you were an IT person, you want to fix computers, you could work from home. So I think some businesses, like real estate, you can almost work from home. People come, very little come to your office these days. But if I'm running a restaurant or I'm running a podiatrist, I've got to have a building. So, but if you run an IT business or you're running, a service business online, you can work from home. So a lot of people are working from home. That's why the retail side of commercial market has really gone down, because there's less demand for it. People working from home. So employers don't need as many buildings or as much floor space. So office space is becoming very much an abundance of it and very little demand. But for you to start a business, you don't want to buy a building for a start because it gets too expensive. You just want to rent something that's manageable. I think you've got to be, like me, when I bought 27, you've got to be confident in what you're doing. Starting a business is not easy. Let's say you want to start up a hairdressing business and you've worked for a hairdresser for 5 or 6 years. Well, you've probably built up quite a bit of a following. Because I know that, I haven't got the best hair, but I've been going to the same hairdresser for 20 odd years and I followed him no matter where he goes. So I think if you can get a following, let's say you want to open up a hairdressing business, if you can just wait till you get that little bit of following rather than just starting from scratch and hoping that the window display brings people in, again, that database of following, I think that's going to give you a much better opportunity of succeeding rather than starting fresh. So, social media helps if you're really good at it, and some people aren't. I'm not, and that's where I rely on database and following. But if you're really good at social media, it's amazing. You can build a business overnight. It's amazing what you can do online. But I think starting careful, don't get something too expensive as a rental. You're not going to earn a hell of a lot of money at the start. You're going to be probably working it yourself because you can't afford staff. You'll probably be limited socially a little bit. You can't move out of there much. So your life becomes a little bit tough. And I think you've got to ride that wave until maybe 2 or 3 years down the track when you maybe have 2 employees cutting hair for you. So all of a sudden you're doing 3 times as much return during the day. Instead of cutting 8 haircuts, you might be doing 24, 30 haircuts. So all of a sudden you're paying a wage to these staff, but you're earning a lot more profit. So you've got to build it up slowly. And that's probably when you can maybe have your 4th and 5th hairdresser. And that's probably when you get to my stage where you might come off the tools a little bit and you might be able to leave early, let them work for you. So it's going to be a slow process. I think I made the comment before that young people want to open up a business and be successful overnight. I think you've got to allow at least 3 to 5 years of hard labour and effort to really lay the foundations so you don't fail.
I think I saw a stat somewhere which is like most businesses fail before the 2-year mark.
Yes.
And then it's 5 years before you actually start seeing real returns on anything, like worthwhile returns.
Well, you're putting money back in. So whether it's social media, whether it's upgrading the building because it's got to look nice. People have to feel comfortable in the heating's got to work. You've got to walk into a nice polished floor, basins are clean. So I'm not going to go into a hairdresser that's dirty. They might provide a cup of coffee, glass of wine, give them that feeling of, it's luxury. So I think starting a business, be prepared to earn less for a while. Get ready. If you're at home with your parents, you could probably take that risk a lot more than opening a business if you're working for the government, let's say, and you're earning a good wage and you've got a wife and a child at school and then you want to open up a hairdressing salon. You're not known to that business. I think that's a recipe for failure.
Also taking the path of least resistance as well. You're gonna go to the job that you already have for the money that's already there. Tyren, you look like you're about to ask something.
You've got to establish.
I was going to.
You could buy an established hairdressing business, but again, I think you got to know the business. Those workers that are there for the last 5-6 years work. They've got to feel comfortable with you. You've got to retain we've got to retain them as staff, because the people that go to see them, they're regulars. If you lose that staff, that business you bought, your clients are going to walk out the door because they're going to follow those hairdressers. So you've got to walk in there and be a really good bloke and give those workers the same privileges, the same earnings, maybe even better, to retain them. Because now you've bought goodwill, you've paid goodwill, you've got to retain that goodwill, because you might have paid a couple $100,000 for it. Whereas if you start your own business, it's a lot safer because you've already got the following, your costs are less, you haven't got staff, and you're going to do that 8, 10, 12 haircuts a day. You're going to work late on a Thursday, Friday night. Your wife won't see you as much for a while, but you're going to bring the money in. And then you'll slowly build on it. I mean, when I bought my business, there was 1 employee. I've now got 24, but I don't want to build it any more than that. I like 24. It's a nice number to work with. But what I'm saying is, if I had employed too many people too quickly, I wouldn't have been able to sustain that cost. So if you're bringing in $5 a week, you can't spend $6. If you're bringing in $5, make sure you're only spending $2, put $3 away, because you'll need that tomorrow. It's not rocket science, but people tend to earn $6 and spend $10. The credit card gets a working, and then at 22% interest rate, their business shuts down. You can't live a life that you haven't earned. If you can't have that avocado smash every morning, have it once a week. Make it at home. You think about a piece of bread, a bit of avocado, and an egg might cost you $1. You're paying $16, $17, $18 in the shop. Then a cup of coffee and a juice, you're $25 worse off. You could have done it for $2 at home. So that's the thing that's important. Then once you've made millions, then go and have an avocado smash every morning. Go on a cruise. Enjoy. You've earned it.
If we had Felix here on the show, I would point at him right now.
Yeah,
Who's Felix?
He's bad for that. So Felix, he'll probably watch this and curse us out. He is a flagrant spender. Absolute, he will Uber lunch here every single day if he can. So yeah, he could probably take a page out of that book.
Well, tell him that he's got to save some deposits so I could sell him a house.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
So he needs to find at least a couple of $100,000. Tell him how long will that take him to find. Therefore, multiply the Uber, meet the things. If you add it all up, it's tens of thousands by the end of the year.
He does want to consider running a donut shop in the future.
Well,
so
yeah.
Love a donut.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Can't go wrong with a donut.
I think he is around you. I think he's Baldwin North, isn't he?
Is he?
That's
Yes,
somewhere
he is.
close. Yeah. So
which
Yeah.
I also think is north.
Baldwin, I believe, is sort of northeast, right?
Yes.
If I'm correct?
Ah,
Yeah,
so
there
it
you
is.
go. Yeah.
Baldwin, Bulleen.
It's just north of me, so I'm like
Hawthorne.
everything.
Do you know
everything's north of me.
Hawthorne, Richmond, Hawthorne, Kew. That's where
Yep.
Baldwin North is. But live within your means, guys. Just because you own a business, you can't buy a Porsche straight away. Put it in
Well,
the
you
front. Hey,
can.
look at me. Look at me.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you got to own it. You got to own it. You don't lease it out. You got to try and buy that Porsche. Then you can. Otherwise, you drive a little, mini minor, mate. A little Datsun, something. Well, not Datsun. A little Toyota, something cheap. Get you from point A to point B.
Tyren, do you have anything on the tip of your tongue?
So you definitely made a great point earlier about how younger people just want to get everything instantly. They want to make it big straight away. And I think it's one of the main factors is because of the internet and influencers, these people just show up out of nowhere and they think that can be them too, which they very much well could. But a lot of things definitely do take building up. Like I used to run a hobby when I was younger, and I would make maybe $3 a week. But it was just something I did and I built up. And eventually you just slowly find ways to expand upon that and make more. And your audience grows slowly over time. And that $3 might become $5, $10, and it just goes up until it's where you're meant to be.
Do you mind if I ask Tyren what that hobby was?
Not really, but I can answer. I used to sell some digital products, just small ones, small things. And eventually I upscaled it into just my hobbies, I guess.
Did you find it much like sort of Mario was saying before, like that first year or first 2 years or however long you've been doing it? Like, are you in where it's hard at the moment, or is it a hobby that you enjoy doing? So the profits that you're making don't really matter that much.
I'm lucky in that it was also a hobby for me. Like, because when you're
Yes.
doing something that you enjoy,
You'll do
don't-
it well.
Yes, and you don't worry about trying to make $1 million overnight. You just want to do something you enjoy and get something that you like out, which I think is something a lot of people could take these
Wow.
days, right?
Thank you. Am I allowed to drink it?
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Thank
We'll,
you. And
we'll start.
You've always made
shortly.
a good coffee, Lou. I mean, I remember in Northcote where, no, this is fine. I'm here every week from now. I'm loving this. I feel like, hey, I might work here. To answer your query on these influences and all that, I think it comes back to kids have to have good grounding. I think you can't let them run away. Keep them safe. Keep them away from these influences. And when they do get caught up into it, I tend to not just ban it. I'd like to work with them and say, listen, are you sure? Is this what you want to do? Your school's more important than doing this, because if you miss out on school, then you can't do what you want to do later in life. So I think good grounding from mum and dad and family, I think there'll be less chance that they'll get influenced to go take that easy step. Because it is. We all want to try and find the easy way out. But if we can somehow let them know that if you play with matches, you're going to get burnt. Sometimes you've got to let them get burnt. The first time they get burnt, they won't use those matches again. But as long as they don't fall too hard, they don't get caught up in a web where, they get unwell or they get anxious, they get depressed, and you hear stories what happens. People get depressed and anxious. So grounding is really important. Keeping the kids close, good school, and like we said about Northcote, the social. I think if your son and your friend's son want to go to school together and they want to really score high, they're both going to try hard. If there's 4 or 5 of them, I saw my son do it and my daughter. But yet, if you're hanging around with some losers, I shouldn't say losers, but kids that haven't got the interest, well, then you might fall down that crack. And that's where a parent needs to make sure that this friends spend a lot of time at our house. We get to know his friends just as much as he knows them. And it's not hard to work out that one of them might have a bad influence.
Influence is definitely extremely
Got to be
important.
very careful. And today with the internet, social media, I mean, it's easily, and you can get bullied so easy. Like when kids got bullied at school, you'd go home and they're in a safe haven. Now the kids get bullied at school, they go home, they're still getting bullied.
That's right.
Because their safe haven is online.
They're on that mobile, they're on that phone.
Well, that puts us at the hour mark, which is perfect time. So I might outro us out. But Mario, thank you so much for
Pleasure.
your time.
It's been an absolute fun time, and you guys have asked some terrific questions, 100%, and yourself. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I'd love to be offered an opportunity to come back and talk further. I could be a regular.
Some incredible answers from you as well, and
Thank you.
some very nice words of wisdom, and there's a lot of experience there, and not just obviously in the real estate sector, but in life that I think we can all sort of take from you. And thanks for sharing.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And the coffee's fantastic, Lou.
Leave a 5-star review.
Yeah,
5-star review, 100%.
beautiful. All right, well, we will sign off here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, listening, and we will catch you in the next one. Beautiful. Well done, guys.
Cheers.